Talk to you about today is coins. I think this stuff is fascinating, and kind of want to encourage folks out there to pay a little bit more attention to the change that you get back, because you might be surprised what some of it is worth. Um, for the most part, the stuff you want to be looking for is going to be in this area here, and you basically have quarters up at the top here. Uh, or I'm sorry, half dollars, and then quarters, and then nickels, and these are all pre 1965 vintage U.S. coins. Um, I'm using my iPod to film this because it focuses a little bit better than my typical camera, but these are interesting because I've actually gotten quite a few of them in change handed to me, even the ones that don't really look like our coinage today. So we'll get to that. But let's work from the top down. So I like to collect silver as far as the U.S. coinage. I've been a coin collector ever since I was maybe, 8 to 10 years old. Have a lot of foreign coins and whatnot. But a few of my family's friends, for birthdays or special things would give me coins, and now looking back on it, it's so cool. So let's start with the big one here. This is a silver eagle, and it's walking Liberty there, and the eagle on the back. See if I can get a good focus on this. Yeah, there we go. So this is the purest of the ones I'm going to show you today. This is 99.9% silver. These are still made. So I have this focus. Let's look at Walking Liberty again. So this one was made in 1993. I have another one that's a little bit older than that. But I wanted to point out, I have this kind of listed. There's a spot price of silver today that actually puts this coin's value, as far as silver only, at about $33. So that's pretty cool. Now, keep in mind, you're not going to be able to go to a coin dealer and buy one for $33. That's a whole different story, but you can probably buy one for $36 or so. Yeah, so what else did I have written down here? Yes, Silver Eagle, 99.9% still made. So that's a great way to invest in a good present, like I mentioned. Now let's move on to the half dollars. So this one right here is the Benjamin Franklin half dollar. You can see it's a 1963. Spot price for these pre-1965s are about $11.82 today, and the price fluctuates a bit. Has a nice Liberty Bell on the back side. That one's in really good condition. Again, I guess these days you're not really used to seeing half dollars. A good trick is you might ask at banks and whatnot if they have any half dollars. There's a good chance that you might end up with one of these, and 50 cents versus 11.82. You might luck out. Now we start getting into the stuff that's really cool to me, or the older patterns. So this one here is 1943. Again, kind of the Walking Liberty pattern, and then a really neat eagle on the back side. The older ones tend to start getting worn out, and you can tell that, but I like that. I think that's pretty neat. Alright, now on to the quarters. Let me see if I missed anything. Oh yeah, we're on to the pre-1965, so the half dollars, the quarters, and the dimes are all 95% silver, and that ended in 1964. So let's look at some of these quarters here. This one right here you can see is from 1897. I love that. I just think it's so cool. Uh, Spot price today, when I looked it up before filming, $5.91 for a quarter. Um, it's interesting if you think about uh, this thing being worth $5.91. I like to use the example of a gallon of gas, which today in at least Boulder, Colorado, was about just under $4 a gallon. Um, you could buy, a gallon and a half of gas with this, and the example is, in 1960 or so, what could you buy a gallon of gas or a gallon and a half of gas with? And I bet the answer is darn close to a quarter. So the thing that's neat is that these things maintain their value, um, and that's why I kind of like collecting the silver. So pretty cool stuff. That's one of my older quarters. Another variant of that, just so you know what to look for. Um, I'm not even sure what we call this one. Let me focus in on him. But just so you know what you're looking for. Then the eagle on the back. That one's pretty well worn out. I don't even see a date on them. But the thing that throws a lot of people off is then you have these guys that look pretty much like they do today, except we've turned into the state quarters. But there's still tons of these out in the post 1964 era. But these have the same content as these older guys, and these still get shuffled around. So pay attention to your change, because you may go buy something for a couple bucks, get some change back, and get one of these quarters, and you know what? You just got handed about $6. These are some of my favorites. We're on to the dimes. Again, still 95% silver. These are the Mercury dimes, and those are running about $2.36 is what I looked at. Spot price. Let me focus in on that. It looks pretty good, actually. These are my favorite to collect. Check your dates, because you might be ending up with a lot more in your hand when change comes your way than you think. So that's all the silver stuff that I wanted to talk about. Now, actually, another thing I thought was really cool that I learned today. Well, there is one more silver thing to talk about. This isn't as neat, but it's worth paying attention to because a lot of these are out there. The nickels have a different time frame. You're looking for what's called a Jefferson nickel, and those are 1942 to 1945, and they're 35% silver. And that's what this one looks like, just basically like we have today, or at least a lot of them are in circulation still. The patterns change just like everything else. Typically they'll look a little bit worn out, but check everything. I tell you, it's amazing how many of these things are out there. But that little nickel spot price today is $1.86. Alright, so now I'm done with the silver. One that I learned about today, which I thought was pretty cool, I was listening to how people out there, some people are starting to kind of hoard pennies, and wanted to give an example of that. So it's actually pre-1982 pennies is what they're after, and I think most of us, or a lot of us, realize copper is worth a lot of money compared to what it used to. So I have a 1959 and a 67, and what we're looking for is basically pre-1982. There were still some of these made in 82, but look for pre-1982. There's a lot of pennies out there. But those are 85% copper, and The intrinsic value of the metal in these is really about 3 cents today, so that's why people are kind of stockpiling them, which is I think it's kind of neat. I don't think I'm going to go out and get buckets or anything, but I might say, start paying more attention and separating these guys out, just putting them in a jar, because copper just seems to be going up. I thought another cool comparison is that I mentioned you have to look at the tarnishing. Let me focus again there. Sorry about that. A lot of times the older ones, especially copper, if you're not familiar or don't have a lot of copper in your life, it tarnishes very easily, or oxidizes. These ones that are made out of primarily nickel don't do that. Now, don't get me wrong, if I went and got some copper polish, these would look just as nice as this, so it's worth checking. But typically if they're going to be real shiny, I wouldn't spend too much time on them. Look for the ones that have some varnish, and that'd be a first step to separating them out. To spend some time looking through their change occasionally. I think I've actually come across maybe $150, $200 in silver coins that, it hurts my heart, but when I think back about it, how many may have passed through my hands that I had no idea about, and especially those families out there that have, a big milk jug or something full of coins. In fact, this happened with my family here fairly recently. It's worth spending your time going through that stuff, and hopefully this helps give you some pointers on what to look at. That's it. This is Willie at newandlostcrafts.com. Maybe this gives you a new hobby. If you have any more information that you want to share, please put it in the comments, and thanks for watching. Take care.